This week in Counter-Strike, broky's benched, s1mple's back, and Vitality go 5 for 5. Let's start with FaZe benching broky. Now, in my opinion, I think that this has been a long time coming. He's been underperforming consistently for almost a year, in my opinion. I just felt like it was inevitable. I feel like the players have been giving interviews that have been maybe hinting at this for a while. Rain gave an interview about 2 or 3 weeks ago, which I even mentioned to Vu at the time that could be hinting broky's benching coming up, but yeah, I think this is a good move.
I didn't see it when you sent that, but maybe you're Nostradamus over here.
What can I say?
I mean, when it comes to it, it's just that the only surprise is that this is happening before the major. Everyone thought that this was going to happen after the major. In fact, we even had, I think on the co-stream for Blast, we even had a discussion. What % chance do you think that FaZe make a move after the major? And everyone was like, what % chance that they should make a move? 100. What % chance that they will make a move? Like 90. Yeah, so the fact that this happened immediately after that is hilarious. But yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming. Even in Magix's interview post one of the games, game FaZe wasn't even in. Magix goes, yeah, running out short first for Donk. It is actually really hard unless you're playing against broky.
I didn't even know he said that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's just missing all of the high impact shots. Like, you just don't see that happen with like the best operas in the world. Like, I mean, if we're looking at ZywOo, which I recently just talked about in one of my videos, like he actually just doesn't miss, and broky almost always misses. Like, think even like the most iconic round from the Shanghai Major where Rob saves him with the jumping shot. How did that start? Well, broky missed a shot on the long doors guy. I mean, everybody's seen the clip. Like, yep. Oh man, hey, actually, I think he missed 2 that round, but it's been a long time coming. I'm really excited for this move, but not because of who they're replacing him with, but just because I think that it was the right direction to go. But with that being said, s1mple is coming out of retirement to replace broky on this FaZe lineup, only for 2 events, which means that we get to see the CSGO GOAT back in action, and we also get to see today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Skin Club. Now, you must be over 18 before you play on the site, but if you are and you do decide to play, Skin Club is a site that has over 100 cases that you can choose to unbox. Now, you can either unbox them individually like we're doing on screen now, or if that's not your thing, you can actually put a bunch of cases into a case battle and play versus another player, where the winner gets to keep everything that was unboxed during the battle, and when it's all said and done, you can use the upgrader to take the skins that you got that you're not the biggest fan of and see if you can maybe get away with something better. And then once you finish, you can actually withdraw any skin that you want right onto your Steam account. If you decide to check out the site, make sure you guys use my link for a 7% deposit bonus. Just make sure that you play responsibly, and let's get right back into the video.
It's kind of an insane change. I mean, just the fact that people have been talking about this. s1mple did a cooking stream and he did a rapping stream like in the last few weeks. This felt like s1mple's gone forever. He's never coming back after he's doing a cooking and rapping stream. And it's just, he's not been grinding recently. Like he was grinding for a little bit. That's the thing that's confusing, is that he's stopped grinding, and that's when he finally gets picked up to a team. And FaZe is talking about this. I think Kerrigan said this is their all in. They're going all in on the major. This is like a YOLO move that is really, it's hype. It's hype. I mean, people were talking about G2 picking up s1mple after m0NESY left just because it's hype. This is hype. I don't know if it's going to be that amazing. He just doesn't have the runway. I feel like he just doesn't have the runway.
Yeah, I mean, this feels exactly how like FaZe plays in the server. Like, they just go for this super exciting round, and then everything goes crazy and they either win or lose. And I feel like picking up s1mple is like I honestly don't think it's bad. They have 2 months until the major to get scrims in, get him back to form. I feel like it actually is a pretty decent amount of time. I mean, like the last time we saw s1mple play CS2, he was playing with Falcons, and it was basically a plug and play. Like, I think, wasn't it Dexter that he replaced or something? Who is it that s1mple played for on that Falcons roster? It wasn't Dexter. s1mple. Yeah, like that move made no sense, but he just showed up and played, and he didn't play that great. But people are using that as a reflection of what he could be. Well, we don't really know what he could be. I mean, when he was grinding, he was playing good in his pugs. I mean, who knows how many scrims he's played behind the scenes? Like, he could have done trials with other teams. Like, maybe he was doing like more scrims with Falcons than we thought. Like, after the major, maybe he got to do scrims with NiKo at some point. I mean, realistically, we have no idea what his form is. I mean, the guy is not playing a ton of pugs recently, but I don't think that should be something that we're looking at. 2 months to prepare. He still has 2 weeks until IEM Dallas as well.
The s1mple
plenty of time.
It was a little more confusing because s1mple was the best player on that team, and still s1mple I think did better than s1mple was doing. So it does make sense still for s1mple. I mean, the question mark isn't, is s1mple going to be better than broky? He absolutely is. It's just like, is this the right play for s1mple, the right team for him to come in off? And to be honest, when I said there's not enough runway, 2 months, you're right. 2 months is like plenty of time. I wasn't really thinking of exactly how much time we have to the major correctly.
You were ready to watch them tomorrow.
Yeah, I was thinking like a month. A month, I don't think is enough runway. 2 months, I think is enough runway. The question then comes into, is this the right team? Is this the right team for s1mple? In that, is it the right team for his mentality, for how many terrible, like, unlosable rounds FaZe lose? Is this a team where s1mple's just going to end up raging out or something? But I don't know. Maybe
I don't know, man. Did you see some of the old Na'Vi rosters that he played with and he still did good? I mean, I think this is somebody who's going to play good regardless of the team around him. But if the team is supporting him well and the team is playing well around him, this could be a really scary FaZe. Like, FaZe has been lacking a dominant superstar opera probably since Guardian left the team. So this could be the move. This is the move of all moves.
I mean, I was kind of thinking Degster made the most sense actually for broky if I thought about a player that would join before the major. Like, don't you think that move? Not that s1mple's not better than Degster. I'm certain by the major he's going to be better. But didn't that feel like because that has long-term viability? Whereas I feel like s1mple after the major, like, are they buying out his contract? Probably not.
If they win the major, maybe.
Yeah, if they win the major, but then his price is going to be like 5 million or something. And s1mple, unfortunately, is a volatile asset. I think that's why Navi's been really hesitant, is because he just, as far as the community knows, that I understand, did he not just like bench himself randomly at some point?
Yeah.
Like, that's a volatile asset to pay millions and millions for, which is what Navi will charge if you win the major.
That's true. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I just overall, I just want to see s1mple win the major. I want to see Kerrigan get one more. I want to see it all happen. I really do. I will say though, you with the mental thing coming up, I do think that it will be interesting because I mean, it seems pretty obvious that FaZe has some issues. We've got some leaked comms from the one of the tournaments recently where Kerrigan's kind of saying, guys, focus on this round, not the last round. And I mean, seems like it could be something to do with Elige being brought into the team. So maybe Elige has some issues and maybe Elige and s1mple are going to argue. And I'm not really sure. Unfortunately, we won't get to see this until the actual major starts because even though s1mple's playing IEM Dallas in 2 weeks, they will be playing with skullz instead of Rain. Rain is going to be a dad. Well, he's already a dad. He's going to have his second kid. But either way, skullz is going to play for this. I don't think that this is something that, like, it's not a move like a roster change. It's just a sub. So I don't expect much from them. But I am going to be looking forward to see how s1mple plays on his first CS2 LAN. Hopefully he gets to the stage.
Didn't he play a LAN with Falcons? He played.
Well, the RMR. But I mean, I guess. Well, yeah, no, I guess that is.
It feels like it's been longer. It feels like.
Yeah. I honestly don't even want to count that, though. Because I feel like the Falcons team was cursed to begin with. But
Yeah, it seems like that Falcons team was cursed completely.
He was not set up for success there.
Probably not. I don't know if he's that set up for success here either, based on the way FaZe are playing. But this is like the only type of team that's gonna want s1mple at this point, right? Like a team that's just willing to take a huge gamble because they're playing so bad compared to their ability. And this is one of the positives, is that this is a roster that s1mple rather is going to respect everyone on the roster, and I think that makes a big difference in terms of attitude and potential, where s1mple does respect everyone on FaZe. But it does come back to like the Elige s1mple thing. We know it didn't work for them on Liquid. Is Elige different enough now? Is s1mple different enough now? Have they grown?
But to be fair, it's almost been 10 years since that Liquid roster.
Yes, like, but to be fair, the news coming out about Elige, like the rumors about Elige mentality-wise have not really changed, and I don't think they've really changed with s1mple that much either in those 10 years. Have they?
No, I guess you're right. But maybe we can only hope that they've just matured a little bit more, and we can see if FaZe is going to become one of the best teams in the world. Maybe they can take down Vitality. It's funny that s1mple comes out of retirement right as soon as we start having the conversation of if ZywOo has surpassed him or not. At least I was having that conversation, because s1mple versus ZywOo we haven't got to see since CSGO has been gone. So Vitality is also just a team that is on the craziest run, in my opinion, of all time. They've won 5 tournaments in a row. They haven't dropped a single series. They're up to 25. That's the longest streak that I want to count. It's the longest streak of all time. I don't even know what you do to stop this team. Is s1mple going to be enough to make that FaZe Falcons matchup more close?
No.
Or sorry, FaZe Vitality matchup, not FaZe Falcons.
No, it's not. No chance. No.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think s1mple is coming back just to put Zywoo in his place one last time?
I actually do. I almost made this comparison. It's hilarious because this Michael Jordan put out The Last Dance documentary, and it almost seemed like he put it out right around when people were starting to be like, maybe LeBron was better. And then he put out this Last Dance documentary, and everyone was like, nah, MJ was the GOAT. And then this feels like the exact same thing. It's like, people are thinking Zywoo's the GOAT now. I think it's time to play again. Let's make it happen. Like, it actually feels so similar. The parallel between these two scenarios is actually insane. I don't think s1mple is going to pull FaZe over Vitality. Vitality is just too good. They're
I don't know, man.
Maybe
FaZe have this aura around them at majors. They just can't do anything wrong.
I think the aura is gone.
Do you think broky and Robs were the aura?
I don't know what the aura was, but it's gone. They clearly don't believe they have any chance at the major. Nobody thinks they have any chance at the major. I don't think there's an aura around them for the major. I think the aura outside of the major is that they're never out of a game, completely gone. And I think that nobody's even thinking about this major aura. I don't think it's a thing. No.
Fair enough. Well, so that means you think Vitality's winning the major? No dramas?
I think Falcons might win the major.
Really?
It's either
honestly,
it's Falcons or
what
Vitality.
if I throw a curveball at you? What if Mouse win the major?
It's not happening.
No, either way. My point is like this is, or I mean, Spirit could win the major. They could go back to back. You never know. That's
could. Possible.
I'd say
those
problem
three are the
here,
only teams that have a chance.
I don't know, man. Mouse is a dark horse, and maybe Navi gets their stuff together.
Mouse is a dark horse to make it to the
s1mple.
final. I don't think they're a dark horse to win the major. If they make it to the final, they're losing. They have no chance.
the point being, this is probably the strongest top four that we've seen in. It's been a long time since I've been unsure of who the top four teams are. Like every time they get into a matchup, like, oh, who's gonna win this game? I actually don't know. Clearly Falcons and Vitality are above Spirit and Mouse, but it doesn't matter because they're still always getting that's the top four we've gotten in the last two events. I feel like, well, I mean, Spirit hasn't attended a lot of events recently, but that's the top four I expect to get at every event. And I'm really unsure. I mean, if Vitality hasn't been lights out, I would say it's maybe Falcons, but it's unsure who the best team in the world is going into this major.
I'll give you a break on that
who
one,
the
actually.
Favorite is going into the major.
Because the main reason I don't think Maus have a chance is just because it's a major and Maus aren't necessarily known to be mentally strong enough. I think when you look at it outside of the major, there is a gap between Vitality and everyone else, but that gap is kind of closing over time. It is really one of the best top fours we've seen in quite a while. And then you have FaZe make the upgrade to s1mple, so you actually have a number 5 that feels like it could be challenging. Could FaZe with s1mple beat Maus, beat Spirit? I think it's definitely possible. It's just that I feel like Falcons and Vitality are kind of pulling away a little bit. They're pulling away a little bit.
Okay, well maybe that's what we get as our major final.
That would be a fire major final.
I agree. By the way, I do want to talk about this. So we do have Vitality's 25 win streak setting the record for most series in a row, and people are pointing out the NIP run that happened back in the day, whether they went 80-0 or something like. What was the actual run?
The maps were 87-0. The series was 60-0, and the BO3 BO5s within that was 30, I think 31 or something. BO3 BO5s. So that is a with an asterisk, that's Vitality could reach that, but the reality is that matches, they're not getting to 60 in a row, Well, the problem with that streak is it is legendary, but I feel like you can't use the NIP streak and compare it to anything modern because NIP was playing versus a bunch of online no-namers in the beginning of CSGO. They're just pulling up to local lands and beating, somebody's little brother who's played for the first time, and it's on HLTV so that it counts in the streak. And then they're coming in, whenever people are transitioning from 1.6, because there was a lot of hesitance from what I'm told. So NIP was one of the first teams to just hard switch over to Go, and so they were beating every team. And as those teams were transitioning from 1.6 to Go, they were just beating them because they had been playing the game longer. They knew more about it. They don't really have that with this. Every game back then was oh, well, these guys are just the best team in the world. We're not going to beat them. We have no chance. But with this streak, every team that Vitality has played preps them hard. They have a coach, an analyst, the IGL staying up, maybe even an assistant
coach as well, staying up, anti-stratting. The other team also has another team up, anti-stratting. Like, they're trying their best to like go into this match. There's just so much more that goes into every single series today that just makes me want to take that NIP streak and just like it's a legendary run. But I would personally say I wouldn't hold any weight to Vitality streak. I think Vitality streak is far more impressive.
I don't know. I mean, winning 87 maps in a row is insane, and they did play BO1s, which is hard. It's actually a little more random, especially when you think of like they were playing the old economy. Like, what would it take for a team to beat NIP during that run? Win the pistol, don't win the first gun round, lose it, hard reset nip on the second gun round, and then do that again, and all of a sudden you've won. It's like you could swing a game in a best of one to win with the old economy of hard resets on like a couple of gun rounds. So it's like it is a mystical run. But is it better? I think it's the easiest way to describe this is that Vitality have the best win in modern CS, because that NIP run, that was before teams were throwing Molotovs. Like, teams weren't buying like, it was just a completely different game. And in every sport, look at every sport, every esport, as time goes on, it gets harder for teams to be as dominant because there's more parity. There's less like kind of advantage you have of just like understanding something before everyone else does. It's just harder. It's just harder. And Vitality, I would say, I think you're right. I think this is the most, I'd say, it's not going to be the most legendary, but this is the best run in terms of you have CS that's reached a point where you would, before this run, dude, people would say that this type of run wasn't possible, that CS was too advanced, too developed.
25 series in a row.
Yeah, people would tell you this is not possible.
I wouldn't have said it's possible. That's why it makes it even more impressive. Now, to address all the people who are going to be angry that their favorite team from 12 years ago were throwing their record and saying, it doesn't, it's not as comparable. Don't worry. Like, obviously that run is legendary and nobody will ever touch it. But as far as like win streaks of all time going forward from like today, I don't want to include that run in the conversation because I don't think that it holds any weight. I think it just, has no place in the discussion anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is like, is this more impressive than Liquid? Which I think is clearly yes, but Liquid's will always hold a special place in everyone's hearts, I think, because Liquid did it in like, what, 58 days or something? They won that many series in a row, whereas like Vitality, this is like 100 days, which is in some ways you could say it's more impressive, but in other ways it's like that Liquid run was just unbelievable. Like, it was just like so epic. But yeah, I think this is more impressive.
It also came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And also this Vitality team, I think, has much more chance to maintain this run. This run, like Vitality, they do everything right. It's not like they're just headshotting people off the server. They're doing so many things right within that. And they do have that mystique that Nip had, like that 12-6 down map 5 against Falcons. 12-6 down. 12-6, and they come back from that and they win that. That is the mystique that the NIP Nip Magic had. Like that is you didn't see that with Liquid. Liquid was just so dominant, and maybe that's better, but like Vitality has that mystique around them that Nip did. This is like, I'm so high on this team, dude.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the 2018 Astralis roster when they could do no wrong. Some people were saying they were playing perfect CS, and I kind of think Vitality is getting close to that. And speaking of Astralis, we did talk about that. Well, I talked about Astralis last week, but what are your thoughts on this? Astralis is selling the team, and they picked up Hooksy for Cadian.
Hooksy makes sense. I mean, they probably could have done it. Maybe it's the implication is that they might have even tried to do it before Cadian, but it just didn't work out. But I mean, yeah, the sad thing is nobody's gonna shed any tears for the Astralis org for many reasons that have been talked about many times. But at the same time, it's like, it is kind of sad in that no, you can't tell me that at least 4 of these 5 majors they've lost in a row, they haven't fielded a major level team. Like, they absolutely have. So it's not like it's like, I feel like you should be a little sad that like an org that is putting in the money and is trying, is going to potentially go under, or hopefully they sell and the next owners are going to put in as much money and effort and maybe they won't do the things that are the reason people dislike this Astralis. It's just kind of a little unfortunate because they have, again, it's not like they've in theory they've tanked like this legendary brand. That's what people will say. But at the same time, they have put in the investment. It's like, it's not like they're letting it fall because they're not trying at all. You know what I mean?
It's just a really sad place. If I would have, told you that Astralis, after they won that major in Berlin, I think that was the last one they won, right? After they won that major, they would not be at a major for 4 or 5 now in a row. You would not believe me. Yeah, I think they have.
Let me check.
I'm pretty sure. No, they were at Stockholm. But after Stockholm, if I would have told you that they wouldn't make a major for the next 4 years, you probably wouldn't believe me.
Stockholm is the one where I tweeted that if Astralis make it out of this group, I will eat a boot, and they retweeted it. I remember that specifically. That was very funny.
And they didn't make it out of that group.
They didn't make it out of that group. They were terrible. I mean, they were bad.
They've been on the way out for a while, but I am excited to see what Hooksy can do. He gets a chance to prove himself, and I do think that he deserves it. I will say, feels bad for Cadian. You are the first person to be replaced by Hooksy, and that can't feel good. That can't feel good, man. With Hooksy having this much negative rep, yeah, that's not a good feeling for him, probably. And then again, like to give credit to Cadian, like he can't. We talked about this with the fall and stuff. Like I don't expect op IGL, who's been doing that their entire career, to just be able to say, yeah, I won't op anymore and I'll just IGL. It's almost impossible.
I mean, especially when you think about it in terms of with the op as an IGL, you're going to be calling slightly differently. You're going to see the game a little bit differently, and even if you understand on paper how to play with the rifle and you can do it, it's always a bit different. I think it's easier. I don't know if this is at least at a lower level, it's easier for a rifler to become an opper. I think playing with the op is a little more like clear on paper that you can study it and be like, okay, I understand this. Whereas with rifling, there's so many micro things, and it's like no kill is guaranteed. It's just so easy to just fall apart, especially when it comes to like the way you IGL, the way you're going to play the game. It's hard to do. I think he did a respectable job at it. I really don't think his IGLing was that terrible. It's just they almost feel like one of those FaZe teams where like at times they actually looked like quite a good team, and at other times they just fell apart completely. That's like the story of FaZe. That's kind of the story of FaZe this year so far. And that's kind of what it felt like with Cadian on Astralis. I really don't think he was as bad as people will tell you he was.
Well, I completely agree with you, but there is a few more things that we have to talk about that we couldn't really find a way to smoothly transition into. And one of those is Perfecto is going to be playing with BC Game for IEM Dallas. Of course, this comes after all of the Jacob drama that we've talked about for the last few weeks. But yeah, I mean, Perfecto getting to play another LAN that is going to have more attention on it is obviously a good thing. He just got out of his contract, I think, recently with Cloud9. So he's on the market. A lot of people could be looking to pick him up after this. Maybe if s1mple sticks around on FaZe, we could see FaZe Perfecto after the major. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, but what do you think?
FaZe Perfecto? It's that minus a leash?
One could hope. Anyway, so one more thing that we have to talk about here is NiKo has started to develop a reputation. I mean, he's had it for a long time, but he started to reinforce his reputation of being a choker, with now losing a second final in a row to Vitality. And this one in Blast, he played terribly. Like, actually, one of the worst times I've ever seen NiKo play statistically. You think NiKo's a choker?
No. Especially, like, one of the things, someone actually messaged me this, and they were like, can we talk about NiKo being a choker? And they cited that shot on s1mple that he missed at the Stockholm Major without realizing, like, literally, he's the only reason they were in the final. But not only that, but in the final, he is the only reason they were up 15-12 for that choke to be possible. And it's kind of insane, but at the same time, yes, this is 2 bad finals in a row. This is the final where he was the lowest rated player in the entire final, like just straight up the lowest rated player. That's something I don't know if it's ever happened in a final that NiKo's been in. The question is, though, it's like, what was going on with NiKo? Is he struggling? Is he just like, I don't know, I'm not going to say is he sick, but is he struggling with the Monacy edition because he's like, maybe he's doing a lot of calling on CT side. Maybe he's just really struggling playing against Vitality. There's lots of different explanations. I'm not ready to say that based off of 2 finals, 1 week apart with 0 practice in between, that NiKo is a choker. Although I do think it's fair at this point to have the conversation, because he did in theory played well most of the event, and I think honestly, if he played really, really well the whole event and came to the final and did really bad, I'd be more willing to say he was a choker, like that this was a choke, compared to like when I actually look at that semi-final they played against Maus. He went 3-8 in opening kills on the one close map they had. They had a nuke game that was 16-14. And on T side, he went 0-7. Opening kills 0-7. He was like 50% of rounds. He was the first death on their T side in that game. It was like his semifinal was not NiKo level either. So it's not like he just came into the final and just did bad. He was not having a NiKo level event. Although statistically it was fine. It was just like in those close games he was just struggling. And it might be that in those close games, you're calling more. You might be thinking about your teammates more. I'm not ready to call him a choker. I don't think so.
Yeah,
personally.
I think the conversation for NiKo being a choker is kind of like it's low hanging fruit. You think of the Boston Major. Oh, he missed a shot on s1mple, and then what? Like we're just writing off the rest of his career because of this. Like the Boston Major, arguably not NiKo's fault. That was a FaZe choke, not a NiKo choke. The shot on s1mple. Unlucky, man. That's one whiff in a history of 10 years of being one of the best riflers of all time, and then what? One bad performance or two bad performances? I don't know. I don't think NiKo's a choker.
People just want to hate on NiKo. I mean,
yeah, I think people just want to have a reason to hate in general.
Yeah, especially when you have someone like NiKo, where it's like he's just been so good for so long. Plus, nobody on any of his teams, at least in recent memory, will say anything bad about him. Plus, he's like actually good looking. Like you just look at this guy and you're like, this guy. We need something. Give me something. Give me something. He's nice. Everyone likes him. He's really good at Counter-Strike. He's good looking. Okay, give me something. He must be a joke. Give me something.
I think you're right, actually. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, like a lot of the internet trolls are very much in that mindset when it comes to everybody, but especially NiKo. He's one of the most likable pro players I think we've ever had. So, and especially with him being in talks for top 10 greatest CS players of all time, people probably they want to find a reason to hate him.
Unlike Rain.
Dude, Rain is a top 10 rifler of all time, man, and it's a damn tragedy that we won't get to see him play at IEM Dallas with s1mple. But that was just this week in Counter-Strike.